You know what I realized recently? Business owners have become obsessed with measuring the wrong thing. So we measure profit, turnover, leads, sales, margins, growth, sales calls, emails, meetings, and hours worked. But very few of us measure how many times we get interrupted. And I generally think that interruptions are one of those hidden costs in business. And not because they're annoying, it's because they're expensive. Hi, I'm Ali. I'm a husband, father of 3 beautiful children, business owner, and a professional coffee drinker, and someone who's still trying to work out this whole work-life balance thing. And on this channel, we'll discuss on how to build a successful business without forgetting on how to build a successful life. So let's dig in. So imagine this, you're in the zone, you're preparing a proposal. You know that feeling where the words are just flowing, you're in the zone, you're getting the work done, you feel on top of the world. But then the phone rings and you decide to answer it. And what's a 5-minute phone call going to do, right? You just think to yourself, it's only a quick call. And right, that call only lasted 5 minutes. But what happens after that call? You put the phone down, you sit back, and then you start probably contemplating on how that phone call went. Could I have said something else on the call? But then in that moment, while you're thinking that and while you got your back up and relaxing, you decide to open up your laptop. And then that question comes in, where was I? And then suddenly that flow has disappeared. It happens every day, but most of us don't realize because we're not auditing, we're not tracking that side of things. We just think it's an interruption, not worth our while to track. There's a professor called Gloria Mark. Gloria Mark spent more than 20 years studying people on how they actually work. And this is not in laboratories, not in fake experiments. She literally observed real people working in real offices. And she was watching them, watching how they were interrupted, how they switched tasks and how they recovered, how long it took them to recover from interruptions such as a phone call. One of her most famous findings was that after an interruption, she found that people took an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to go back to the task they first started on. How this is measured is because they'll be doing something else that's not work productive. It means that after that interruption, you don't go straight back to the task you was working on. So for instance, you answer the call and after that you'll think, you know what, I'll reply to this one email. After that, you'll check your diary to see what else you got to do in the day. That then becomes, you know what, I'll just send a couple of invoices because it's on my task anyway to do for later on. And then suddenly 23 minutes have gone as an average. And then you realized it wasn't the phone that was the problem. It was the chain reaction because the phone is the starter and then everything else becomes like a domino effect. Now, if you're one of those people, one of those business owners that do realize that the interruption is a hidden cost and it's quite expensive cost, you probably don't also realize the hidden interruptions that happens in your own personal life. Now, for instance, you come back from work, you're sitting on a dining table, you get a call that comes in and you think, you know what, I'll answer that. It's only going to take me a few minutes. But you're at the dinner table with your family, with your children, and I think at those moments, you shouldn't be answering the call. Because what happens, just like at work, a chain reaction appears. It's not just all about what happens at work. Don't carry that back home with you. Now, when I first started business, I actually thought that in order to be a good business owner, I had to do everything myself. And that included answering all the phone calls. I wore it like a badge of honor. Yes, I've answered the call. I know exactly what's going on. It translated to me as I'm always available, I'm committed, I'm always there, and I care. But really, and the truth is, as business owners, and let me know if you feel the same, we're scared of losing control. We are scared of letting go and thinking that someone else will probably not have that same passion as you. So we want to take everything on ourselves. What also happens when you have that fear, and ultimately that quality of service will start to deteriorate. You need to instead put your concentration on hiring the right people and having the right processes in place so that the person answering those calls will be on the same page as you and are dealing with it professionally. That's all you need. You need someone that deals with the calls professionally, knows how to answer it, and then you as a business owner will need to come up with processes, policies, so that you got something to track against. Not micromanaging, but setting standards. And now suddenly you're becoming a business owner as opposed to doing everything yourself. Now, one of Gloria Mark's recent studies has also discovered something quite interesting. Our attention span on a screen has changed dramatically. So years ago, people stayed focused on the screen and our attention span was roughly about 2.5 minutes. And what Professor Gloria Marx found is that in today's world, the concentration span has dropped significantly down to 45 seconds before they decide to switch to something else. That means email, WhatsApp, notifications, Teams, phone, browser. Those are all the things they'll be checking. So every 45 seconds, checking on something else, and then they repeat and repeat and repeat. No wonder we're so burnt out, because we're great at switching, but then forget the focus. So for instance, if you get a call and that distracts you. Now, as you know, not every call is going to be a client wanting to sign up, right? It could either be your existing client probably got a question. It could be a spam call, trying to sell you stuff. But the cost of you answering that, and as I told you, being out of work, being out of that flow for at least 23 minutes, is it really worth it to answer all the calls yourself? So what's the solution? Now, firstly, trust your staff and get them to answer the phone call. But if you're a small business owner or it's just yourself in the business, there are ways where you can make sure that those calls get answered, but just not by yourself. I mean, it's cheaper than you think. Look at a call answering service company, for instance. They can answer all your call. They'll work alongside with you. They'll answer in your company name and they'll send you the message. So once you've done all your tasks, go to your email, go to your phone, where they would have texted you the calls that they've taken, and then you can call the customer back. You can even give them instructions to say, Ali's not available for the rest of the day, but he can get back to you by tomorrow morning. Would that be okay? Or you might even say, and this is for the emergency, they can transfer the call to you. In that case, it's an emergency. Okay, fair enough. Your business comes first. But you'll find that 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to be emergency and they can wait. Let's get this right. This isn't about ignoring people. This isn't about being difficult to connect or pretending that customers don't matter. It's the opposite, because I think that when you're on the phone to your customers, they deserve your full attention, right? Because if you're in the zone and you answer a call, you're going to be thinking about the tasks you're currently dealing with and not really fully concentrating on that call. And like I said, if it's a customer that needs you, that's fine. There will be a time you can speak to them and have your undivided attention to them. But if it's calls that can generally not having to be answered by you, then that's something you can have a process in place to deal with it. For instance, someone calling to say, oh, how do I make a payment of this invoice? Does it really need a director or an owner, business owner, to answer that question? Or can it be your staff? Or can it be your company that answers the calls? Your PA, your VA, your call answering service company. And then when you factor all this in, now you heard the saying, there's only 24 hours in a day, or I only work 9 to 5. And as a business owner, I don't know about you, but I don't tend to look at the clock in the way to try to get home. I look at it, so God, goodness me, the time's going too fast. I got more to do. Imagine just avoiding one interruption in the morning. That's 25 minutes, 25 minutes saved. And when you have that 5 days a week, you get the point. So it's not the phone call that stole your day, it's everything that comes after it. The time that you give to your business is your biggest asset. So the way you manage time as a business owner will shape the success of your business. Manage your interruptions and say to yourself, does this require my attention? Does this really need me? As a rule, what you can apply to everything that happens in a day, you'll start to really, really make progress to what happens. And remember, success isn't just about building the business. It's about the life you live and the time you spend with the people who matter most. So I'd love to hear from you. What's the biggest interruption that steals your focus in a day? And what have you done to reduce it? Drop a comment down below. I do read all the comments and I will respond. Well, I'll try my best to. And if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I promise I'll be delivering more videos like this. I aim to post a video every Thursday at 7 p.m. So remember, build a business, live the life.